Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers.
Right? No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire.
Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. I'm Justin Fox. I'm joined here by my guest today, Quin Amorim. Quin, thank you very much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Justin. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. How's your day going so far?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's put it that way.
So far, so good. It's early there. You're in Alberta, right? St. Albert, so near Calgary. So it's sort of midday for you there. You said minus 20 though, right? So we're not quite there here in Toronto, but it is going to probably get there in the next couple of weeks. I can feel it.
Yeah, the minus 20 is definitely not my favorite weather.
Right.
That's why I said I didn't say everything's going perfect, but
right.
That's the only issue right there.
Awesome. Well, if you live in Calgary, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you're used to cold weather. So I'll do a quick bio though here. So just so everyone knows who you are, what we're going to be talking about. So you've been selling online for 20 plus years. 6 years ago, you launched one of your private label brands on Amazon and been growing brand after brand with Amazon FBA. You also host 2 podcasts. You own an e-commerce agency that also helps brands grow. So I kind of looked at a little bit of your podcasts. The one of them is QA selling online. The other one was Fail Fast. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do. I did about 100 episodes of these last year. I've taken a bit of a break over the past couple weeks. You're actually only the second one I've done in 2021. And I used to do a thing called kind of a choose your own adventure. I don't know if you remember as kids reading the books, kind of choose your own adventure.
Yes.
So I'll let you choose your own adventure. Do you want to talk a little bit about the podcast or sort of like what you're doing now? Or do you want to take us way back, 20 years ago and kind of talk about what got you into selling online?
Either one is fine with me. I'll probably start from the beginning then, and how I started with the online selling and then how that evolved into what I do today.
Okay. So yeah, let's start from the beginning. So take us back, to the beginning. I know, we're talking 90s, right? That's sort of when this all kind of started out for you. Tell us a little bit about the trajectory that got you to where you are today.
All right. So it was in the late 90s. I was living in Europe in a small country called Portugal. And so I had my regular job like everybody does. And the main thing that I was living for at the time was for party, right? So as soon as work ended, I would go to the bar and meet with my friends. It was like Cheers. We would always meet at the same bar, always the same people. And then I decided that what I was making with the 9 to 5 wasn't enough. And I decided to, how it came up was one of the days on driving home from work. I was listening to the radio, and they announced in the news that this company that had switched names and auctioned something had switched names to eBay.com.
Okay.
And they were worth hundreds of millions at the time. And I mean, this is hundreds of millions right now for an online company may not seem much, but we're talking about 1997. Like, it was insane. So I went home to find out what that was, what that site was, and what we could do there. And that's when I decided, okay, I gotta, sell some things here. And right next to my work, there was a store that I would walk in front of that store all the time because I used to smoke. So I would go outside and have a smoke and look at that store. And they sold hand-carved statues that were made in Morocco. And they were like super, super cool, a little bit expensive for me, but I figured these are expensive for me, but they're not expensive for what they are, right? So for
Right.
how cool they are, I bet there's so many people out there that would be willing to pay a lot of money for this. Then I ended up bringing my camera to work because my cell phone didn't have a camera back then. But I brought my camera to work.
I didn't even have a cell phone in 1997.
Yeah,
That's how, like, just for the people watching, let's talk about, like, I mean, I was in first year university in 1997. So I mean that's like put some context. I didn't have a cell phone. I think, yeah, I didn't have a cell phone. I probably had my first personal computer and I got my first email all in 97, ironically. So like that's like back then we're talking like not a lot of people even had access to internet, right?
yes.
I mean, we're talking dial up, right? We're
Yeah.
talking very like eBay. I can't even imagine what eBay looked like as a website, like very, very basic, very like
Well,
old school, right?
the thing is, it looks basic now looking back at what it looked like. But
Right.
at the time, that was not basic at all. That was like
Right.
the most complex thing I've ever seen.
Right. Well,
Right?
that it's very hard to understand. So let me just ask a question. Like, what is your like background that made you want to get into the tech side? Like, do you have a technical background, or like what did you do in school, or like how what made you think, like, what were you doing? What was your day job, I guess, at that point?
Well, I didn't have a technical background. No,
Okay.
I just had the love for technology,
Okay.
and that was, I don't think it was an entrepreneurial move or being one of those guys that jumped in early because I can predict things.
Right.
It was just luck, right? I figured I can sell used things on eBay,
Right.
and in that case they were new too. But I did start with like things from around the house. I sold some of my sister's things on eBay. You know,
With or without her knowing?
I'm pretty sure it would be without her knowing.
Without her knowing, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
yes.
So how old would you have been in 97? Just out of curiosity. Like, how old are we talking? That'll tell you how old you are now, but
Yes. So 21
how old are you now?
or yeah. Well, I'm 43 now.
So you would have been 20. I was
Yeah.
19 in 97.
Okay, there you go.
I
So,
know this
yes.
because it was a very instrumental year. Like 1997 was the year I finished high school, and went to university. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I started. I was studying
And you're about a
accounting.
year older than me. I'm 42. So
I was studying something that I dislike completely. I at this point now I do.
you said
Uh,
accounting?
Accounting, economics, financial calculation. So it was 8 hours of math because I was in this advanced program called the technical professional, where instead of doing, uh, you know, 1 hour of accounting and then 1 hour of economics and then business law or something like that, we had 8 hours a day of classes. So if you do it for 2 years, 8 hours a day, at the end of those 2 years, you get something. It's not your university degree, but it is a degree that allows you to perform the work as if you had a university degree. And that's the one I did because I wanted to fast forward everything, but it ended up becoming so frustrating. Having 8 hours, it's like having a job that you hate, and on top of that, you do not get paid for it.
Right.
So by the end of that, I couldn't stand accounting anymore, and that's why maybe I'm lucky because that's what one of the things I do not touch is accounting. I don't do anything about it. So
Okay.
yeah, that had no connection to why I was selling online. It was just trying to make some extra cash. Started with the things from around the house. Then I took the pictures in that store. I took pictures of the items they had in the store, and I listed them before SEO even existed or any mention of SEO. So it was what I could type with my very poor English And as a title, I often at the beginning wouldn't even put a description or anything. It was the image, a couple images sometimes, and I was listing in eBay.com, which is the US, and those things would sell.
Right. So you're in Portugal.
Yes.
You're selling products that you can find around, or potentially different things selling into the US market.
Yeah.
So how were you shipping it then? Like back
Post
then, what
office.
you just
Yeah.
went to the post office. So were you able to make back then like enough of a margin on the product to make it worth your while? Obviously, right?
Sometimes, sometimes because there was no software that would tell me at the time how much my fees would be ahead of time.
Okay.
Right. So uh, I would know, for example, what my shipping fee would be after I was at the post office and they weighed it and measured it, and
Right.
now it's ready to ship to the US. And, for example, I charged $20 for shipping and it would cost me 34, right?
Right.
So sometimes it wasn't that profitable.
Right. But you were learning. You were definitely, I mean,
Yes.
At late 90s, you're probably one of the first people that's kind of, doing this. You're at the forefront of the, what obviously 20 years later is now the everyday, or 25 years later, right?
Yeah, it's funny because at the time I thought, why am I always the last one to know about anything? I'm
Right.
always the last one.
Right.
But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was in the small first percentage to join.
Right.
Right. But yeah, there were so many listings at the time, like compared to now, that would be nothing. But to me, that was like mind blowing, the amount of listings that already existed.
Right.
And unfortunately, all in the US. The closest I could get for myself would be the UK, but that was still 2,000 kilometers away or something like that.
Right.
So
Interesting.
yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah. So you start out, you're selling on eBay. I guess, when did you move to Alberta? When did you move to the Calgary area?
Well, around 06.
Okay.
Yeah, around 06. I was born in Canada.
Okay.
Moved to Europe young, and then because it is beautiful and the weather is amazing in Portugal at 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
So why would I didn't want to come back. But then,
Right.
yeah, in 06 I made the move, came back, and yeah, and then I was still in 06 when I came back here. I was still doing this. The online selling was still my part-time.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
I had a job in the oil and gas industry here. It's very big here in
Yep.
Fort McMurray, so 500 kilometers north of where I am now.
Right.
And I heard that every kid, doesn't matter if you have school, even if you barely speak English, everybody makes six figures when you go into the oil industry.
Right.
So I went up there, and I realized it is true, but I mean, it's 12 hours a day with 2 hours of commute. So well, I started to get sick of it pretty quick, because
Right.
you're working in the oil and gas. It doesn't matter how much you make when you spend 12 hours outside in the winter. It's minus 40.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's not fun. It's not. That's why the pay is so high, right? It's not a fun job. But I heard stories about, maybe you can just, where like McDonald's workers would make $20 an hour, right? Just because,
yes.
right? The cost of living was so high up there.
Oh, Justin, I had in that city was developed just for the oil sands, because it's 500 kilometers from the nearest city, right? The city that had the mall, for example, was 500 kilometers away.
Right.
So everything was there originally built around that oil industry. And when I got there, it was mind blowing to me. Every job that you saw in the city had help wanted signs. Everybody was hiring.
Right.
And for example, Starbucks, I remember going to Starbucks, and this is a huge chain, right? Everybody knows it. And Starbucks had a sign at the door saying, "We are closed today because we don't have staff."
Really?
So Starbucks couldn't open the doors because right next door, there was somebody that was paying $40 an hour to
Wow.
start, and you had zero requirements. All you have to do is have a heartbeat. That's what we used to say. You have a heartbeat, I'll hire you.
Right.
And right. So when I got there, like my English was really poor, and I had never worked in the oil and gas. I knew nothing about safety, and right, my first job was 37 an hour, and come in, you're hired, and so yeah, McDonald's, Starbucks, any restaurant in town, they
Right.
have to raise their rates in order
Right.
to get staff.
To compete. Wow. So
So, yeah.
start that's based. So it's a sort of supply and demand, right? There's the
Mhm.
limited supply and the demand, obviously, for the services, right? So they've got to pay to have staff. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Portuguese, right?
Yes.
So you speak Portuguese then?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I don't. I know one or two words, but I probably should not say them on air. I think the one I'll say is "shupama," and I'll leave it at that. Right?
Okay, I know where
Yeah.
that's going.
And it's not directed at you. I just Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, everybody
Anyways,
knows those.
yeah. Oh, caray. Is that one? Is that one's? It's
Yes,
more of like a. I don't know if that's an actual. Is that a word?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's used a lot actually.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like "oh my god" kind of thing, or like
Yes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
a little bit badder than.
Wor-
Oh
yeah,
my God.
worse. Yeah, it's like "oh fuck," "oh fuck."
Yeah, yes.
We can swear on here. That's fine. But
Okay.
anyways, okay, interesting. So you're going through the eBay early stage, late 90s, early 2000s. You come to Canada, you get into the oil and gas industry, and you're kind of maintaining this online. Like, so let's transition to maybe more recent. Like, when did you kind of jump into the online, FBA, a lot of the stuff that you're doing, working with the branding and the podcasting? When did all of that kind of kick off? Like, give me sort of timelines for that.
Well, I realized that what I was doing, there was no growth potential, right? I couldn't grow selling things that were unique or things that had other people's brands on them, or even knockoffs that I did sell at one point when I didn't know it was a bad thing to sell knockoffs. So then, when I had that, when I was in the oil and gas, and because the money was coming in pretty, well, I was going to say pretty easy, but it was just more than before. I started using it to fund my online hustle a little bit more, and I also, started learning a lot more. Right, I started learning some things that I didn't even know before, like some HTML, some PHP, because then now I wanted to build my own sites and all that
Right.
stuff. So by 07, 08, I kind of started growing this at other levels, and then I stumbled upon something that I started doing without even knowing the name yet, which was private label. Basically, getting a product that already exists, but rebranding it and making it, my own brand, like like a tennis racket, for example, and then I make Quin's tennis racket, and it was fascinating that because I didn't have to own the manufacturing facility,
Right.
and I could own anything I could think of. Like if I wanted to own a coffee mug company, I could own it tomorrow, right? Tennis rackets or earbuds, earmuffs, anything I could think of. Like, okay, this is so fascinating, and I started doing that, and that's kind of where I started to go towards Amazon because eBay started to have all of the drop shippers, and that's what I was doing originally too. It was
Right.
a weird form of drop shipping. But everything then that you would source or buy on eBay would take a month, 2 months to arrive, right? and it was coming directly from China, from the Chinese manufacturers or from other drop shippers. And anything that I was selling on eBay, for example, if I sold something on eBay for $20, there would be a competitor selling it for $1.99
Right.
directly from China. So I, as soon as I started selling on Amazon, I realized I'm done with eBay. And in 16, I believe it was this, I know the month, it was December 16, because it was the last month of fourth quarter. I ended up closing 700 listings that I had for sale on eBay. And I closed them. And what was the products that were mine, I moved them over to Amazon, and then I started creating more. And that's kind of like where the bulk of things come from right now, is from Amazon, Amazon Europe, Canada, and USA.
Right. So you're saying private label. So tell us a little bit about the private labeling side. So for those that aren't maybe aware of what that even means, from a private labeling. So explain that process a little more.
Okay. So private label is when you create your own brand of anything. Okay. Let's imagine you want to sell skincare, right? You always wanted to own a skincare company, not an affiliate one, not MLM to sell somebody else's brand, but you build your own, like Justin Fox Skincare.
Right.
So you would contact a manufacturer of skincare. So you'd contact a skincare company that already exists, and you would ask them to create, if they would private label. And basically they would have it's the exact same product. It was like Sony does this with their televisions, right? Panasonic does this. They create, it's the same technology that they already have, but now there's a new brand that they make it for. And
Right.
it is, they said, the Justin Fox Skincare. And then now that you own this brand, nobody else in the world has access to this brand, only you. So you would go sell this brand, you would do the marketing for your brand,
Right.
and of course because you own the brand now, you can decide what the sell price is going to be, right? Because you still have to buy it from the manufacturer. You don't own the manufacturing. So then you do your own markups. You decide if you want to make it a elite brand, or something that's like, we often refer to it as like the IKEA of whatever the product is, like the IKEA of skincare. Those are the ones that sell at a low price and sell 1,000 a day.
Right.
Or you could be the Ferrari of skincare, where you have a really high price, but instead of 1,000 a day, you only sell 10 a day,
Right.
for example, and make the same amount of money. So that's it. Basically, it's like creating your own brand for a product that already exists.
Right. So, okay, no, and I guess, so let's sort of like white labeling. I mean, it sort of goes away from the outsourcing your manufacturing, which would be sort of a different business model. This is where they do everything from sort of start to finish, and then they put your brand on it sort of at the end. Just out of curiosity, so do you have like one business that you run all of this through? Like, are you incorporated as a business to do all of your deals or your products, or the different sort of things that you do, or is it kind of all separate, as how are you structured as a business? I guess just from like people watching maybe are wondering, okay, as a side hustle, that's one thing. If you're now doing it more on a full-time basis, how do you structure that?
Well, when I first started, there was not much organization, Justin.
Right.
It was, I would name
steal
the
from
brand.
your sister and sell on eBay, right?
Yes,
No,
basically. Right?
sorry to your sister. Apologize. Yeah.
Oh,
Rob
she
from the
knows.
rich, sell to the poor, right? No, but yeah.
She knows now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started very unorganized, and it was, I do whatever I want to do because it's just my stuff, and then it turned out to created corporations in Canada, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure, but we don't have the LLCs, so it would be, for example, Inc., and I have at this moment, I have 3, and then a partner in a couple of LLCs, which with U.S. partners.
In the U.S. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And the main one is right now Prolific Zone, which is the agency. And this is where I manage other business accounts that sell online. So only the online side of things, right? So we don't touch the retail. And thankfully for us in 2020, that's the good news, right?
You mean no brick and mortar? It's all online retail.
Yes, that's correct.
No brick and mortar. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we are incorporated, and at the beginning it was very random. So and wrong. So I guess that part doesn't matter. But right now, instead of just having for every brand that we create or every new product that we create, if we would create a different brand for each one of them, now we would have to create a separate corporation, then the trademark, because we would want the trademark for that brand if we believe there's any future in it, and then also because Amazon requires a trademark if you want to register your brand on Amazon. So to prove that you are the registered owner of that brand and have certain rights over it, you have to give them the trademark. So instead of doing that, the easiest part is now we create one brand, which is a general brand, and then everything would be a division of that, or a product into that brand. Right. For example, I don't know, Justin Fox Group, and then everything every product that you create would be part of the Justin Fox Group.
Right. So tell us about your brands. Like, what are some of the brands that you guys have created on Amazon?
Well, we've created almost brands in almost any niche.
Okay.
I don't have anything in the adult space, and everything else from supplements to electronics.
So give me a couple names. Like, what are some examples?
Oh, I can't give you names, Justin.
You can't say them online? You can't say them? No?
Through ads, I can't, because then I would be associated with them. And when it comes to private label, that's one of the things that all the Amazon sellers, for example, we join in masterminds in groups of 60, 70,000 people. And then when somebody knows that you're somewhat successful and they know your brands, all they have to do is follow your brands to see what you launch. And they don't have to do the research. They just copy then what you do, because they believe you've done your research properly.
Right.
And for 2 reasons. That's one, because then you are creating competition against yourself in that category. And the other one is when you start developing a certain amount of followings in online, and with the podcast and both podcast, the agency and social and stuff, sometimes you do develop some I don't know how to call it, but some people that are not
haters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right. And someone say that's how you know that you're successful. It's when you start developing your first haters. But on Amazon, it's very important to not have haters, because there's a lot of things that can be done to your products. For example, leaving
Like
bad
reviews. Right.
Yeah, reviews, feedback. I know people that have orders of 20 of their products, for example, per day. Then they get opened and then returned and sent back to Amazon, because everything can be returned. And so that's one of the things that we try to avoid. And
interesting. So, okay, let's talk about, so you don't want to talk about the specific brands. Tell me, like, so I mean, I don't know where you go with this, but let's say, online, there's a lot of, talk, if you will, a lot of, you see the ads on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, and, there's all these different ways to sort of make money online. It sounds like you've been doing it, sort of part-time, full-time, off and on for 20 plus years. is it possible to just jump right in, make insane amounts of money with very little effort, or is it true that it is hard work? There is a lot of time and effort that goes into it. Where would you say, like, what end of the spectrum are you on? Are you on the let's the easy money, or is it a tough slog?
I never had the easy one, Justin.
Okay.
I've never found that easy one that
Right.
people talk about. That
Okay.
you kick a rock, and under that rock you find $100,000, and
Yeah.
you go from 0 to $1 million in 2 months. I've never seen that. It has always involved a lot of work and a lot of failure too, right?
Right. Trial and error.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's not possible, right? There are so many unicorns.
There's exceptions to every rule for sure, but for the most part, there's it's a lot of hard work. So with what you're doing then, right now with the sort of the FBA, right, fulfillment by Amazon, like, if somebody were to watch this, right? I mean, people watch this, they're entrepreneurs, they're looking at maybe for their own business, maybe they're looking at a side business, side hustle. What, like, if you could pick, let's say, I'll just say three ways to make money online. What 3 ways would you say are the 3 right now, like 2021? What are the 3 ways, in your opinion? Obviously it's your opinion, onemansopinion.com, as they say, right?
Yeah.
In your opinion, Quin, what are the 3 ways that an entrepreneur could make money online?
Well, I would be a little bit biased towards e-commerce, right?
Right,
So,
of course.
I would say the number 1 would be start building a brand.
Okay.
Not just a product, but a brand, something that you eventually, the plan that everybody has is eventually sell a brand, right? And get the 9-figure exit and just go sit on the beach somewhere and enjoy it. So I would say start building that brand, and e-commerce is the way of the future. I honestly believe that. I'm not just saying that because that's my space.
Yeah.
And since 2020, we've got a sample of what I believe is there's more to come. And 2021 seems that way too. That if you sell online, anybody in the world can find your products, can find you, and doesn't matter if there's a lockdown or not, but it's still going to be there. So that would be my number 1. Selling physical products on Amazon, Shopify, Walmart.com. That's one of the big platforms that we sell to. Not very big compared to Amazon, but to anything else. And then turn those products into a brand and keep it going until you have a decent following.
So just not to cut you off there. Sorry, Walmart.com. So you're saying that you're able to white label or private label products under your brand to a point where you can actually now sell them as a brand into Walmart?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's so Walmart has an application process that is pretty similar to Amazon's, where you would sell as a third-party seller on Walmart's platform.
Really? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yes. So if you walk into the store, it's different. That's going to be the retail side. But if you go to Walmart.com or .ca, you're going to see the majority are probably third-party sellers as well. So it's the same system where you upload your products to Walmart's back end, and you sell it. And since 2020, they'd started fulfilling as well.
Okay. Wow. So Walmart, they're seeing the Amazon model and trying to replicate it to some extent, right?
They don't have another choice, right?
Yeah.
Justin, it's either you pivot or your future may not look too good, too bright. So they are following the Amazon thing. They're doing their own fulfillment. It's not available for everybody yet, the Walmart fulfillment, but it has been.
So it's FBW,
No, they actually
fulfillment by Walmart.
they actually called it WFS. I think Walmart
yeah?
Fulfillment Services.
Okay, WFS. There you go.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So okay, so one was build a brand. So online e-commerce is one. Are there any other ways to kind of make money online? Or I mean, I don't want you to say, I'll say it. I think a lot of the world right now is looking for
The easy way.
quick, easy money. And there's a lot of predatory kind of people out there that prey on that, and they're selling do this model and it'll get you $1 million. Buy my course for 1,000, right? Like what are your thoughts on that space?
I really don't like that. Man, some of the things that we see today that are the make money fast,
right,
actually do not make any. A lot of them is
right.
like the trading and invest in Forex and invest in Bitcoin, and there could be money to be made with Bitcoin, but not with investing in that person that's going to invest it for you, right?
Right.
And in the Forex that you see all the courses coming out and everything, there's nothing to be made. All of these people that are selling the courses are making the money from the course itself.
Right.
No, I mean, I said all, but I don't know.
But the majority, yeah,
yes.
for sure.
And a lot of them are being now proven to
somewhat outed,
yes.
right? Yeah, exactly, for sure.
So
number one, e-commerce. Yeah, stay away from those types of people, right?
Yeah, services. Services one of the most profitable things, like B2B services. If you can provide a business to another service, like for example, my agency, we provide services to people that want to sell online, and we run that for them, right? So for existing businesses that have been selling, for example, for 20 years, they've been selling in retail.
Right.
Now they want to have a bigger exposure online, right? They come to us, and that is even more profitable than selling products itself. Yeah, but the downside for that of the services is that you have to know what to do, and you have to provide a good service, or else that customer's not going to come back.
That fades away quickly, right? When
Exactly.
when you're not efficient or effective in actually performing the task or providing the service. So e-commerce services, what would be another way that you would see as being a viable sort of online, or what have you seen over the past year, people starting to shift towards?
There's another one that I believe is very good, and it just, for me, it wouldn't work. Just because I'm not a very attractive person, right? I'm an old 44 or 43-year-old man. But I'm
right there with you. I'll be 43 in about 2 months. So there you go.
There you go. So becoming a social media influencer.
Right. Okay.
That
I thought you were going another direction there. I thought you were going. The initials PH. No,
yes.
But anyways, no, that's not. I thought you were going there. Okay, social media influencer. Get your mind out of the gutter, Justin. Get your mind out of the gutter. Okay.
Yeah, there's accounts that can grow so fast these days, like insane amount of followers with Instagram, with even a new Clubhouse. I'm not sure if it's going to last forever, but it seems to be doing great right now. TikTok, and there are so many accounts. Normally, the ones that grow the faster are the attractive young ladies.
Right.
And then it gets to a point where the platform gives you ad revenue, or businesses like me, for example, I approach a lot of these influencers to use them to talk about my products and how great the product is. And, we send them the products, and then a couple hundred or a couple $1,000 for each post, depending on how big they are. And there's a lot of influencers there that right now are charging $1,000 for a post that's going to last a couple hours, right?
Right.
So,
But the reach, I mean, if they have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, right? And especially on things, I'm not that familiar with Clubhouse, but TikTok, the engagement that you get with that, where people are like engaging, liking, reacting, commenting, especially on some of these, larger, influencers, I'm sure that's valuable to a brand. So that's interesting. So influencer, that's interesting that you say the influencer is an online option for some people, but I think you mentioned another part of it, the influencer marketing opportunity for businesses is probably a very untapped sort of like early stage in what that even looks like, right? Like I remember looking up, seeing how you would even connect with influencers. I don't know if there's any platforms out there right now where you can kind of connect with influencers. Are there?
Oh yes, there are a ton of them, and more coming out each day. But I tend actually not to use platforms. I actually have accounts in a lot of those platforms, but I find that the best way is to go, and that's what we're working on right now, is micro influencers. So we've tried the 2 million to $3 million follower accounts. And normally what happens is, because now they know they are an influencer, for one, they become more expensive, and two, they want to limit the exposure because they get so many requests for advertising, that that post is going to be there for an hour or two, then they're going to remove it completely. With micro influencers, people that have a couple thousand followers, like the everyday person, right, that has their friends, their family, and everything, now they would be happy with getting the product for free. So, for example, if you were talking about, imagine skincare, I could have a VA sit on a laptop and say, go through Instagram and find women that are over the age of 40 and contact all of them, right? Contact all of them and see if they want product. If they want product for free, and in return they'll post about it and just say what they honestly think about the product, right? If you trust the product, we do that. And actually, you'll be surprised the amount of people that reject it, that say no, because they find like they think there's going to be something more. Like, why would they give me this for free? Right. But so a VA, a virtual assistant, can go through hundreds of accounts per day, send them a message, right? A message that looks personal, but basically it is a copy and paste message, and they just replace the name. And after sending a couple of hundred a day, a small percentage of those come back and say, yes, I'll have the product. And then they post it on their own profiles forever, and it stays there forever. The big influencers, it's good to use on YouTube because those videos would be like lifetime on their channel too. So we don't get sales from it just today, but a month from now or 2 months. It's ongoing. I really appreciate you. I don't want to take all your time, Quin. Thank you very much for joining me here. I have one last question though. I wanted to throw one thing in here. I think that's really interesting around the influencers. A lot of people there. Plus I got 2 kids here screaming at me here. One of them needs me to go to the other room, but that the joys of lockdown, right? Kids, I have 3.
Yeah, there you go. I got 2 little boys, 4 and 7-year-old. Anyways, the one comment I was going to say is I started a brand called shipmypants.com. So we should talk about that because it kind of went by the wayside. I'd love to get it, like kind of restart it at some point. We're looking for somebody to kind of be the back end of it or kind of support it. It sounds like that's something you would be able to help support. So love to discuss that with you. Where can they find you though, Quin? Give us the 2 podcasts.
Yeah. So QA selling online.
QA selling online. Okay.
Yeah, questions and answers, and also Quin Amorim selling online.
Yeah.
The other one is Fail Fast Podcast, and both can be found at failfastpodcast.com or QAsellingOnline.com.
Okay.
And the easiest way would be to find me is prolificzone.com.
And what's your TikTok? I want to know your TikTok.
I don't have TikTok.
Oh, come on. You don't do TikTok?
Yeah.
I ask everyone. I want to start. I'm going to post your dances at the end of this video. No? 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 Okay. I'll end it with one last question though. If you had one word to sort of say to everyone about the journey of being an entrepreneur or your life experience, or something you'd go back to tell yourself, what would that one word be? Piece of advice, I guess.
Well, it would be, don't be stubborn. That's something I would tell myself. I was very, very stubborn.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I didn't want to learn with others because I thought I knew more.
Right.
And that's something that ends up hurting you at the end. So don't be stubborn and always learn.
Perfect. Yeah. Always be learning. Don't be stubborn. Perfect. Awesome. Well, Quin, thank you very much. Yeah, we should definitely talk offline here. Everyone else, this is One Take powered by Backers. If you can hear, I got a kid crying in the next room. I appreciate it, Quin. Enjoy. Have a great day. Thanks for talking. I'll see you guys again soon. Hey there. Welcome to One Take powered by Backers.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.